hello, hello to all of our beautiful people out there. Hello, Mercedes. Hello, Mr. Joe.
Joe, can you hear? Oh,
Yes, I'm good.
okay, good. Okay, we're
Broken
on.
up, but I can hear.
Okay, we're definitely on air. And hello, everybody. We are so excited to be here. We've kind of got a little start saying hi, and I'm Mercedes Lucke Benedict. This is Bishop Dr. Joshua Sparks, and we've got our amazing guest, Joe Benedict. Hi, Joe.
Yay!
How are you doing
Hi.
tonight? He's in the other side of the house. Well, Bishop
Yes.
Joshua, I would love for you to begin your amazing introductions like you do because you're so great at that. You're just
Well,
amazing.
this introduction's kind of special to me because I know this special man. I've got to sit at the dinner table with this gentleman. I've got to know this gentleman and love him and appreciate him. And I'm glad that he's one of our very own, part of our family. I just want to welcome everybody to Explaining the Unexplainable, the show that journeys into the heart of mysterious creativity and where art and spirit and imagination collide in ways you never expected. Of course, Mercedes introduced us. We're both co hosts of this wonderful program, and today's episode is one you won't want to miss. We're honored to be joined by the brilliant, unconventional mind of Joe Benedict, the creative force behind Caveman Fabrications, a studio where oxidized steel meets Arizona flagstone, and imagination meets conservation, and one breathtaking fusion of fire, form, and philosophy. Since 2006, Joe and his team have forged a reputation for creating stunning, functional art that both decorates and activates space. And everything from massive fire bowls to custom shade structures and his legendary monster chairs to bells, kinetic creatures, gates, and sculptures and installations that feel like they belong in both a museum and a myth. All handcrafted, all alive with purpose and presence. But this isn't just about aesthetics, it's about mission. Through his nonprofit organization, My Beautiful Spirit Productions, Joe brings together sculpture, film, and music to shine a light on wildlife conservation, sacred geometry, and nature's rhythms. And his art is a call to awaken not only to the beauty of the world but to our responsibility within it. And you can currently see Joe's kinetic interactive sculptures at the Tucson Botanical Gardens Lights Up Festival, where creations like a steel and mesquite butterfly or a winged dragonfly come to life when visitors activate petals. And these aren't just displays; they're experiences. They're conversation pieces made out of rust and reverence. Joe's work is also featured in respected galleries like Jane Hamilton's Fine Art and Petroglyphs, where you'll find his signature blend of the primitive and the profound chakra bells, sacred structures, ancient symbolisms, and functional pieces that feel like they're echoing from the past while pointing toward the future. Whether you're looking at a giant prickly pear cactus forged from weathered steel, sitting in one of his prehistoric style monster chairs, or listening to a crown chakra bell ring out across the garden, there's something about Joe's work that touches a deeper layer. His art feels like it was excavated from the spirit of the land itself. So today, yes, today we're diving into Joe's story, where it began, how it's made, and why it matters. We'll talk fabrication, we'll talk inspiration, symbolism, sound, soul, and sculpture. And we'll walk through stone and fire, through kinetic garden art and conservation philosophy, all the way into the unexplainable. So let's begin our journey into the creative caves of caveman fabrications with the one and the only, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Benedict.
Woo!
Yay! Thank you for that amazing introduction, my friend. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. It was hard to write because you're such an amazing man. And it's just so wonderful to have you here with us tonight. I mean, it's such an honor to have you, and I've wanted to get you on here since we started doing this, and I'm glad that you are our guest tonight, and you are the guest of honor. Um, so welcome. Everybody
Much
that's listening,
appreciated. Yes.
you're so welcome. Every origin story has a spark, and for Joe, it was likely one forged with both fire and imagination. And in this discussion tonight, we're exploring the roots of caveman fabrications and how raw material meets raw inspiration. So, Joe, your work feels ancient, and futuristic at the same time, like something we've never seen before, but also deeply familiar. So let's rewind the clock a bit if we can. Um, and I want to do that by asking you some questions. And the first question I want to ask you is, where did your journey in metalwork and sculpture begin? And was there a moment that ignited the fire, literally or figuratively?
So I've been in construction all my adult life, which is an excellent background. One of my first jobs, I was framing homes way back in the day. So I did tons, very many nightclub and restaurant theming and remodels, and that laid the groundwork for my art, if you want to call it that. Being able to build anything from a country western nightclub to a high end restaurant to any of these things really helped to hone in my work. And it was in February of let's see, 2008 is when I called myself an artist, and that was back when I started making my monster chairs, and that was one of my first shows that I did, the Gem and Mineral show. I had a booth at that thing, and that's when I called myself an artist.
Awesome. That's. I always love to listen to the history. I think a lot of times we get in a hurry in life that an artist and such as yourself, we don't ask the right questions, and we don't get a history, we don't get a snapshot of what started everything. And I think it's important because it gives us details about your heart and the reason it is that you began to do the things that you did. And I hope that we can post the website on here so that you can go and take a look
Of
at some of
course.
the beautiful things that Joe has created. Now, I got to ask this: the name Caveman Fabrications is unforgettable. Now, what's the meaning behind it, and how does it reflect your artistic ethos?
So, great question. When I first started my art business, I was calling it Creative Design Studio. Ho ho hum! Holy cow, that bugged me. I'd be driving into town, and it just bugged me. And then one day, Caveman Fabrications popped into my head. Boom! And that checked for the domain name, and sure enough, it was available. And that's how Caveman Fabrications came to be.
Awesome. So it was something that just happened. It was something that was birthed out of your mind, out of your spirit. And
I think he's leaving things out.
well, you can jump in there,
Well,
Mercedes.
Well, let's face
part of
it, he
the
is like
thing
a
was,
caveman. I mean, he's really kind of like somebody that is, um, like he calls himself a caveman because he doesn't like to be on internet very much or things like that. So it's kind of funny.
caveman fits me real well. In fact, early on, Mighty Joe Young, the big gorilla. That's my joke, the family joke. I do a very good impression of that, by the way. Um, and Caveman fits me real well, and I do love it. Just resonated with me when I did that.
And Joe,
Awesome.
you were always you liked when you were a child. One tell us your story about your dad when you were a child and how he would be creative with you. And he was an artist and a doctor.
Yeah, yeah. Father, nobody like Dad, Papa. So yeah, he was very much instrumental in in creating, uh, sparking the interest in both my brother John and I, um, being artistic, encouraging, and just imagination. Sparks imagination. For example, we were just children, and he would put on classical music, Bohemian Rhapsody or something like that, and he would narrate uh, amazing scenes, just amazing. It would be uh, a mouse running down the keyboard, up and down the keyboard. There would be pythons coming in the window. There would be elephants stomping and monkeys cracking walnuts underneath the elephant's feet and all this stuff. It just was so much fun for my brother and I, actually older brother too, David. We would all be sitting around listening to Dad in pitch black. It just this music blaring, and he would be narrating these amazing scenes. So that sparked our early um, childhood imagination, if you want to call it that. Dad, holy cow, nobody like him. God rest his soul. So there's, yeah, I think of him often.
I just love that story. When I first met Joe, he would share these things with me, and he had like this idyllic family life, like the Beavers and Cleaver, the Beaver Cleavers. And I was like, what a life he had. His family is really neat. And I want to make sure I say that we've got Ann Bender on the chat. We've got Marie on the chat. I believe we've got Susan on the chat saying hi to you, Joe. I don't have my phone because Joel has got my phone in the bedroom, so I can't do the chat tonight. So I'm sorry, everybody. Hope Marie, you guys lead off on that chat, right, Joshua?
Yes, because I can't chew bubble gum and walk at the same time, let alone
I
do the chat and.
know it's Well, I mean, Joe was really blessed to have a family like he did. And his dad was a chiropractor too. So that's one of the things where Joe and I, when we met, I was doing the body work on him. So he was really inspirational in my life as far as, he was the first person that actually gave me a sketchbook, right, Joe? Like to draw
Yep.
things, draw the spiritual things I was seeing. But anyway, so he's a very sweet person. So yeah, I'm so glad you're here with us tonight, Joe.
My honor to be here. Just for the record, you're breaking up slightly, so I'm getting about every other word, but I'm doing pretty well at understanding the questions and stuff. So
Oh,
um, that's
were both of us breaking up?
yeah, a little bit. I think it's okay because I can make it out and I can fake it. I can fake
Well,
it pretty well. Okay.
you're doing good. I
He's
couldn't I couldn't tell. Okay,
he's
Joshua,
doing
take
a
it away.
he's doing a really good job. Well, now that you've opened that can of that you went down that avenue, why don't we hear a little bit more about you all meeting and how God brought the two people together? As wonderful, dear people, dear friends of ours that we love, and I mean, let's hear about that. Was it love at first sight?
Well, actually, it was about
Eh,
zombies.
It was
Because
what?
it was about zombies because he
Oh,
he was a partner in one of these a haunted attraction, and he was and my son loves zombies at this, and so he had this, and it was October, so I asked him if I could work on him and possibly do trade for tickets so I could take my son to this event, and that's really kind of how I started to work on him, and then we just started to kind of get together after that. So yeah, right, Joe?
so
yeah. I worked for a decade at a haunted house. I was one of the partners at it. It was called the Slaughterhouse. Whew,
I don't
awesome
like
name.
butterfly
that.
memory, if you want to call it that. Yeah, it's. I'm glad to be done with that. Never worked so hard for so little money in my whole entire life. It taught me how to create huge sets. I mean, hundreds of rooms with zero budget. I mean, it was good training for me to be able to do that. But back to our story. Yeah, Mercedes. I ended up doing. She worked on me, did body work on me for trade for tickets for the slaughterhouse event, and that's kind of where it started with us. We started talking on a very regular basis after that, and it just happened that we were a match.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I know she was doing body work on you. You're talking about healing, or are we talking about chiropractic work? Because I get this mental picture in my mind of her having you in a headlock, saying, "Hey, listen, I want those tickets, buddy."
No, no.
Close, close.
So he did. I was working for Dr. Swidler at Medicine Will Dental and Wellness, so I was head of the body jaw alignment program. So that's where I would work on him on the table, and then he started coming to my house. So I had my own setup at the house, and so basically, Joe has a lot of injuries. Joe still has a lot of injuries, and he still needs work,
Yeah,
right, Joe? But it was really absolutely amazing
yeah.
because that's when I started to really see a lot of things connected into Joe's body and what was happening spiritually and connected into it. Was some of it was pretty scary, actually. I know this is a weird conversation.
Well, inquiring minds have to know.
Well, what do you think, Joe? Talk about it. I don't want to keep this is your interview. I don't want to
So
keep
yeah, Mercedes. First off, there's nobody that can do the type of work that she does. Not, I'm not saying nobody. She is one in a million when it comes to healers. She's able to unwind old injuries, see them from uh, her intuitive eye, and be able to unwind childhood injuries that up and things like that. So she does a completely different type of healing that I was used to. Again, I was raised with the chiropractics with father and being a chiropractor, which is a beautiful healing science in its own self. But Mercedes has a way of releasing pain, muscle injuries, uh, fascia being twisted, etc., etc. So it was really, well, it's really magical. And thank God, because without her, I don't know if I'd still be able to function as a caveman. So,
Well, you know
He
what they
used
say:
to tell.
behind every good caveman's a good cave woman, right?
Well, I remember he used to tell people like that he knew about me, and back then, that was my real main focus was that work. I wasn't on media or anything, so and that was my job and my work. And so, yeah, he always used to, and they wouldn't believe him, and so they'd come, and then I'd work on him, and I would help people, he because they just weren't used to having somebody do what I was doing. So
That's awesome. Well, you've created an entire identity around mixing organic materials with industrial elements. What inspired you to work with things like oxidized steel and local Arizona stone?
well, all metal artists, I'm going to narrow it down to my metal art right now. Metal artists, almost all of us start by using reclaimed materials. For one, they're a little less expensive than buying brand new stuff, actually, quite a bit less expensive, and found art and things like that. So I can see, I look at something that 1,000 people have walked past, and I can see art in it. So it's always, that's kind of step one in the evolution of a metal fabricator or artist is that the again being able to see raw materials in a finished state is a gift that I have. I'm not saying completely finished. Have an idea of what it's going to look like whenever I pick up the first piece of steel. And I always say that the building it, it'll tell me, it shows me the direction I need to go and how to build things. So it's intuitive, maybe the right word, but it's also the piece talking to me. And being able to build bigger and more impressive and more exciting things is just part of my evolution as an artist. Just having so much fun doing it right now. Amazing fun.
you know what I remember the most when was it because he would take these saguaro skeletons and he would make like animals out of stone, like he called them caveman critters. But he would take these saguaros, and then he would we and as we went on our journey, he would be blessed. We learned to bless things, and so it became very spiritual, like to save. To me, it was like saving these majestic saguaros, and people like well, they're all over Tucson. He's got so many. I've got beautiful pictures of all the people that wanted these amazing sculptures. They're just beautiful. So that was one of the things that I think was even slowly formed the 501c3, because that is to help bring awareness to these beings, or these this right, the land and the art that you're doing, right, bringing that to life, Joe, right? How we you're kind of you brought these sculptures. Now the new sculptures that you're doing is based because of the 501c3 that we have, our nonprofit. And lo and behold, that's just, I mean, it's working. It's actually working. And he's creating like the butterfly and the dragonfly and the hawk. But I think that's really part of his spirit. He's really connected to that, and it's just been honed and grown over this decade. You think so, Joe?
Okay, so
He's
the
having hand.
saguaro skeleton. I'll go back. There's about three different layers of that question there. So, the saguaro skeletons, I love those guys. I can be doing 75 miles an hour down I-10. I can see those things standing up in the desert out there. They just catch my eye. The saguaros themselves are such an amazing plant, cactus, 15, 18, 20 feet tall, arms forever, just amazing. But when they die, they still stand up, and these skeletons, all the skin will fall off of these things, and they still stand upright, and they're just majestic and beautiful. And you're able to get these on private property. You can't do them on the national park areas or things like that, but for example, my clients have one that's on their property. I'll ask them what if I can rescue it. So I'll take that saguaro skeleton, take it to the house. You end up splitting it open. The interesting thing is they're massive when they're alive. They weigh 5 tons, 10,000 pounds or more. But when they graduate, when they die, they all dry out, and you can literally carry that whole great big old tree on your shoulder. It probably weighs less than 150, 200 pounds, 15, 18 long. Anyway, I take it to the shop. I'll split it open, and I will clean it out, power wash it, remarry it back together, build a really cool base for it, and put a ton of linseed oil on this thing. And they're just amazing and beautiful. And again, as Mercedes says, I've probably got 2 dozen or more sold through the galleries and to different clients and things like that. And they're just amazing, majestic. I call them the Sonoran Sentinels. So I actually use those Sonoran Sentinels as a um, inspiration also for the entryway to the children's garden, the Discovery Garden at the Tucson Botanical Gardens. I got the opportunity to build the entryway. So I did these very cool renditions of these saguaros. They're nice. They got a nice curved shape to them, and these arms, and a really nice big sign that says the Children's Discovery Garden. So that's one thing that I got to do in that spirit. Been so blessed to get to do all these amazing pieces for the botanical gardens and also this exhibit that we're building. I want to touch briefly on the Harmony Stone, which is a pebble chime. You drop a pebble into it, and it bangs off these stainless steel nails that are facing each other in this chamber, and it goes bing bong bong, bing bong 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 as it falls through there. And I sandwich that with these huge pieces of flagstone, and that's in the Children's Discovery Garden also at the Botanical Gardens here in Tucson. Huge hit that way. The 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 exhibit that I'm working on is magical, and that's what you both have touched on, the interactive art where you can sit down on something and do a hand crank, and this 7 foot butterfly, this metal butterfly, flaps its wings, or the dragonfly does the same thing. It flaps its wings and flies, and it's just awe. It's amazing to sit there and look at these huge critters that all these mechanics, almost 50,000 leagues under the sea type mechanics, working these things, and they're so much fun for the family, grandpa, grandma, children, everybody in between, just enjoying and giggling and having fun and working these things. It's just makes my heart sing. So I think I touched on all those things Mercedes just asked me about.
From you talked about dropping the pedal to the sounds and
Okay.
the to the hand cranking of these wonderful creations that you've created. I got a sense that there's some type of a healing even in those sounds, a healing in every turning of the gear, and when you talk about your creative path, how we've talked about the spirituality behind it as well, but there's a deep personal and a sacred tone to your work. Your spirituality has shaped what you do, and that's very powerful. Um, and that's very uh, you know heal there's so much healing element behind what you do, Joe, and it's powerful, because to me, this is just my opinion, okay, but it's how your work speaks both to survival and spirit. There's something primal about it, yet very intentional. You're not just a fabricator, you're a sculptor of experience, and what you're doing is you're inviting people into that spirituality that you found. And they're every time they sit down at one of your interactive sculptures, or every time they drop a pebble, they get to tap into what it is that inspires you. That's very powerful.
And let me say that everything he does, it is, he spends a lot of time blessing, making sure that he does the prayers over it. He's been doing that since, well, since I've known him, but it's really increased. And the harmony, the bells, he spends a lot of time just listening, just for the right tones and getting the right tones. So I agree with you. I think it's very much part of his soul work.
It's one thing to have a vision, but it's another thing.
Oh,
It's another thing to make it real, and that's what Joe's done. you know so Joe, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. I want to dive into your process, how you transform raw steel, wood, and stone into those living, breathing works of art. We've already touched on that a little bit, but also wanted to say this. And as I thought about this program, I thought about different things I wanted to interject in our conversation. you know your workshop must be like a hybrid of a blacksmith's forge, an inventor's lab, and an artist's studio. So let's kind of walk behind the scenes. Can you walk us through your creative process from concept sketch to final sculpture?
yeah. Uh, for one, my happy place is my shop. I very, very, very much enjoy being in there and creating. And the process um, is again, I can envision what I want to have in the end, and then take all these raw materials and literally start um, fabricating into something that's magical. Now, I'm I like to think I'm in an elevated uh, spiritual state, most of the time, and I try to project that into my work while I'm doing it. And um, I just, well, for one, listening to like Native American flute music while I'm creating is just a good thing for me. The Again, the pieces talk to me as I'm building them. So I've got spiritual help to help build these things, which is just a blessing. I have so much fun creating them. Uh, I'll look at my watch and it's 1:30 in the afternoon. I'll look at my watch again and it's 6 p.m. I go like, holy cow! I've done a lot of work, but it's still just time flies sometimes. The process itself is that I enjoy projecting my good energy into these pieces that I build. And uh, I do it on everything that I build, even the stuff that I just fabricate to run money through the checking account. But these works of art are also, they're very special for me. Oh, by the way, I sneak in hearts into everything that I build. I usually sneak in a heart in everything. That's my little secret signature on these things. Um,
That's awesome. That is
yeah.
awesome because you put your heart into it. So a day in your studio is like you just come in. You don't really have like a set structure. You just let inspiration lead, right?
I'm sorry, you broke up there just a little bit. So,
Okay. Well, what I was saying is a day
yeah, didn't catch that question.
well, a day in your studio. You don't really come in and have a strict structure. You just let inspiration lead you.
Yes, a lot of times I have a goal in the end, a, a art piece. I'll have it in my mind. For example, the butterfly and the dragonfly, I worked on those in my mind for over 2 years. Okay, I would sit at my fire bowl in the evening, watching the sunset, and build this thing in my head, and then finally got the opportunity to build them, and they and 4, 5, 6 weeks later I had the butterfly done. Another 3 weeks after that the dragonfly was done. So uh, the creative process on that, sometimes I build these things for weeks in advance in my head.
Yeah, literally, he started designing this exhibit 2+ years ago, and he would talk about it just like he's talking now. And then, so when he has created them, just as he said back then in that same one, just so when he had his eyes closed and he was talking like that, that's exactly what he would do. And then he literally has. And when we went out to see, when you go out to the place and you see these people, and I try to get the videos, get the videos out. Um, but that is what happened. The people are out there, and the families are coming together, and the little children up to the grandpas and grandmas are all together having fun.
Well, we're going to get out that way next year because I have to see this. I have to touch it. But I definitely want to come out that way next year for sure. Joe, what's been the most difficult piece you've ever made, and what did it teach you?
Oh,
That's going to be interesting.
yes. I think Angel Bell Michael. Angel Bill Michael is probably my most amazing, most, I don't know, spiritual piece, if you want to call it that. He again, he's almost 11 feet tall. He's got this huge wingspan, and he's holding this big, beautiful bell out in front of him. And these bells I use, they're actually recycled oxygen tanks, and they just make the most beautiful sound. You have to kind of find where it resonates the best. When you gong it, when the clacker inside hits where it hits, it can make a difference on how it resonates. But once you find that sweet spot in that bell, and the opportunity for me to donate Angel Bell Michael to the Brandy Fitton Park Angel Walk, which is a project that my dear friend Alex and my little brother Alex spearheaded this. They put it together through Brandy Fenton Park, which is a memorial park itself, and they asked me if I would participate, and I could not wait to donate that guy. He had Angel Bill Michael had sat at Jane Hamilton Fine Art for an extended period of time, and lots of interest, but nobody had pulled the trigger on him. So to get to donate him, oh, by the way, they gave me the absolute best pad site on that whole place. This angel walk will have as many as 30 different angels. There is 8 or 9 there now, and each one is very special. My friend Alex has done one. My brother John has done two. He's donated two. And there's Adam, another artist that did an extraordinary piece. And these uh, other 2 or 3 artists have just made these amazing art pieces. So this walk is going to be a destination point for people all over the country to come to this to Tucson to the Brandy Fenton Memorial Park and do this angel walk. And I feel like again I've got front center best place. And Angel Bell Michael is he is there. He is an amazing bell, and everybody gets to walk up to him, interact with him, ring the gong him, ring the bell, and you just see people enjoying him, and it makes my heart sing when I see that. So it's just amazing. It's amazing.
And Angel Bell Michael is actually Archangel Michael.
Awesome. Well,
So
Marie,
yes, I named him after one of my heroes, if you want to call it that, Archangel Michael, and that's Angel Bell Michael is him incarnated in steel at Brandy Fenton Park.
Another thing is
according to Daniel,
Angel Bell Michael also became the he changed for the exhibit Beautiful Spirit Interactive Art. Now he has become the guardian of the garden. He has turned into a hawk, and Joe's kept the name, but he's changed it to Mikael. So it's the same, but just a little bit different. So he's the just the same as Archangel Michael, but he has been transformed because it's for the desert and the different wildlife creatures. So I think it's absolutely beautiful, and he would be the harmony of the sculpture exhibit, right, Joe?
Yeah. By the way, Mercedes made a fantastic coloring book that ties that whole thing together. Mikiel, which is the brother of Angel Bell Michael, is the guardian of the garden, and he is another just he's 10 feet tall, big, beautiful wingspan, and he's got this amazing hawk head. So, and it it's he's very powerful. Same way you get to ring the bell and everything else. But this coloring book that Mercedes put together ties all these people, all these pieces together. The butterfly, this activity book, maybe a better word for it. This the butterfly, the dragonfly, and Mikiel, the bell, and these other pieces that are evolving in this is all tied together. The gift shop just was so excited that we put this that Mercedes put this together, and she got the first royalty check yesterday from that thing. So it showed up, and we took photos of the check and everything else. So she got her first royalties from that. Officially, it goes to the 501c3, but that was
Yeah, I don't get
um, very exciting for her and for us.
$179.50.
ooh, that's good.
Yay!
That's good.
Yes,
Well,
That's
yes.
probably
we had a question on the board from
oh yeah, I
Marie.
saw that.
Um, She wants to know, Joe, where she can get a tiny Angel Bell Michael replica for her home that has a working bell.
Um,
Well, we actually
I'm
remember we did
sorry
one
that.
for Melinda. So Joe made one for Melinda Marie a long time ago when they helped us when we were first had our deliverance. Remember, Joe,
Yeah,
you made Melinda his assistant. It was actually, I don't know, how big was that one, Joe?
let's see. That one, if I remember correctly, was only about maybe 30 inches tall. It was a much smaller scale, and was that a bell or was it a chime? I think I made it
The
a
time.
chime where there's like
Yeah.
three. Yeah. Either way, it's a much smaller scale of that, and uh, I, I've always my brother and I we talk about this quite a bit. Sometimes though, building a smaller version of something is not easier than building one of size, but I'd be happy to do. I do a 6 foot tall version of him, which is he's still so impressive and uh, much easier to ship. If somebody's interested in one of these, Angel, a little brother of Angel Bell Michael, I would be honored to do that for them, and I would do it with my same spirituality and love that goes into every piece that I build. So yes, I'd be honored to do that.
I think she was
Awesome.
actually talking about something small. And you know what? Someday probably we could really do something like that when the time is right, right, Joe? To make smaller ones.
Yeah,
Not right now,
yeah.
probably.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to build the fourth piece for the exhibit, and he's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, talk
It's
about
going to
that.
be about a yeah, he's going to be a about a 10 foot long lizard. Okay, this lizard's going to be big enough that you can sit on its back. We're going to put a nice leather saddle on that critter. The stirrups, you'll be able to put your feet in these stirrups and you'll push on them and he'll do a push up. So interactive that way. He'll do those push ups like the lizards do whenever they're doing their territorial things. So um, I'm very excited that. Oh, one of the cool things again with my hearts, his scales. I'll probably have about 2,000 of these on there. 2,000 hearts are going to be his scales on the exterior of him. So you'll be able to sit on him. He'll have reins that you can pull on like a big crazy horse, but he's going to be a big lizard that does push-ups.
See, that's awesome. So if I come out to Tucson next year, I'll be able to do a push up again through the
Yeah,
lizard.
Yes,
and the
yes.
neat thing, you guys, is that we just got the confirmation. I think last week that because we were like, what are we going to do after? Because we're trying to put a tour of this together, and it's working to where these would go to different botanical gardens. So, that takes money, that takes time, and so, but we just got the okay that Joe will be going, that this thing will be going into the, um, oh, Joe, you tell him. It's going after it leaves Tucson Botanical Gardens, which we love them. It's going to go to the Desert Museum. You hear me?
Yes, very excited. Yeah, yeah, I can. Very excited about that also. Desert Museum is another amazing area here in the Tucson area. It's on the west side of the mountain. It's real close to Old Tucson Studios, by the way. And it's
And us.
beautiful. They see, yeah, it's a lot closer to us too. That's kind of where we lived. But they they see like something silly like 300,000 people a year go through the gates there at this, and I'm getting to basically take the exhibit, these three pieces that are there. The fourth piece will be ready by then. We're going to bring them to the house. I'm going to freshen them up and then take them. So August 31st. It ends at the Botanical Gardens, and then about a week or so later, I placed them at the Desert Museum, and they're going to be there for an extended period of time, pretty much all winter. So they'll be there about 6 or 7 months.
Wow, that's that's awesome. Uh, that'll be something something worthwhile to travel out there and see. I told Jason McLeod that if I get picked up by a UFO, the first place we're going to is to Tucson to see you and Mercedes. So, and he asked me if we'd come and pick him up, and I said sure. I said, but I'm gonna have to get him to bring the big spaceship because he's so tall, you know. But so you know,
I want to ride.
I'm
Take
gonna come.
me for a ride
I
too.
So
will. Listen,
we
I'll
should
come and
talk.
get you too.
Yeah, we should talk. Joe has
Yeah.
seen, and part of the documentary is Joe is talking about what he's seen in the skies. So I know that you like to talk about that, Bishop Joshua, and so does Joe. Joe's seen some amazing things while he sits out at the fire at night.
You know what? I can't wait to come
So
and
I'm
sit
at my
around the fire.
firebowl uh,
Yeah.
95% of the time. At sunset till about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Uh, Got to see Elon launching all his rockets and satellites and stuff. They like track right over our property. And I have seen my share of UFOs out there too. Uh, the fire dragon, holy cow, that was a cool one. I'm sitting there and I was looking basically west southwest, and this kind of like a cigar looking thing that's luminescing. It's just glowing this beautiful white light, slowly tracking, um, basically east, uh, and it literally stops above me and just right there in front of me. Now this is it's I don't know how far out into space it is, but it's very vivid. Now, this thing stopped and put on the most amazing light show for me. It looked like butterfly wings. These four different layers of light came out from the craft and made this arch and came back into it. So it resembled butterfly wings. And that went on for about, well, it seemed like eternity, probably 20 seconds, 30 seconds or so. And then it stopped and then it tracked over, it kept going east, and then it ended up going dead center straight over Tucson. We were working with this kahuna friend of ours, and she confirmed at that time that she's, oh, yes, that was the fire dragon. They did that specially for you, Joe. Like, oh, well, thank you guys. That was awesome.
From one
There was
artist to another,
another,
right?
yeah, and God, that's been how long ago? 10 years ago, Mercedes. That happened, maybe longer than that. We
No,
were,
no,
but it was.
about 7 years ago, maybe six, Joe. Actually,
Is that all? Well, okay.
yeah, it was about
It's still
2018. Seven.
okay. Yeah, so that was one another one that I actually I've seen three or four. I'll mention this one. This bright red light. It was a little brighter than normal, but it looked like it was 30,000 feet up in the air. Okay, and then I see it. It's kind of just sitting there, and the next thing I know, it accelerates from horizon to horizon as fast as you can swing your arm, just whoop like that. For a craft, any craft, it had to be doing 5,000 miles an hour, faster than that. The only way that something goes that fast, that from horizon to horizon, if it's only a few hundred feet above your head, say exactly a jet comes shooting over property, but it was way up there, and I knew without a doubt that that was another UFO tracking right over our property. That's a whole nother story, isn't it, Mercedes? We are like a magnet for things going right over our property. Elon Musk's satellites. The very, very, very first time I saw those critters, they track. There was 20 or so of them in a straight line. I thought they were UFOs. They were tracking, 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 and then they went behind this huge thundercloud, and they never came out. I go, look, where'd they go? Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Oh, it's like I ran in, I told Mercedes and everything else. So I'm sitting there the next night. Another line of those guys come flying through, and
Ruined
it
it
was the
though.
craziest thing. They were tracking right over the property,
Elon.
literally right above me. They all disappeared. They all either went out of the atmosphere, or later deduction said that the sun reflecting off the crafts, I was not able to see them anymore. Okay. I'm sitting in the dark, but because they're up in altitude, the sun's still shining on these crafts, these satellite crafts, and they're bright. But when they pass over my head, they would disappear. But I thought they were supernatural the first time I saw those damn things.
It is spectacular, and people don't look up enough. I used to never look up until COVID, and that's when I started seeing UFOs, and I see them on a regular basis now. And I don't know what their desire with me is. If they want to make contact, if they want to convey a message to me, because whatever that might be, or however that might come to be, I'm open for whatever. But your work is so powerful, and you put so much of your spirit into your work. And but I want to ask, how can listeners support your work? How can they get involved with your nonprofit?
Okay, so that's a lovely question. Thank you so much. Our our nonprofit is My Beautiful Spirit Productions. Okay, there are opportunities for people to sponsor these builds, and I'm going to be building a total of 12 large ones and a multitude of medium and small ones. Okay, so for example, if somebody wanted to donate, again, they're tax deductible donations, which is awesome. Say they wanted to sponsor one of these large builds, a $10,000 donation to that would build this amazing. Let's, for example, the hummingbird is one I want to build with the wings that articulate like a real hummingbird. And this guy's a 6 foot tall hummingbird. His wingspan's going to be massive.
Wow.
And the cool thing is, we get to. I will co-design the design with whoever sponsors this. They will be on the plaque saying whoever their name is, co-artist or something along those lines, and sponsor or whatever. They can sponsor these things. Now, the medium builds, same way, or the small builds, any of these would it basically frees me up where I can build these builds faster and more efficiently. So we would love to have any anybody sponsor on any level some of these builds that we're doing, and they can find it through my website or Mercedes' website or mybeautifulspirit.com, and make contact that way. Again, 100% tax deductible. You give us $1, we'll give you a receipt saying that you get to write that off on your taxes. So exciting stuff, and I got feelings that it's coming to fruition as we speak. Magic, magic, magic is happening.
And it's My Beautiful Spirit Productions would be the 501c3 if anybody does want to look at that. And right now, you can find it that way, but it is connected to my website, mercedesluckybenedict.com. And of course, it's connected to Caveman Fabrications too. But we have had, I think we've had three sponsors so far, right, Joe? That and they have literally helped make this happen because all of the funding is it's us, and so like if we can make them if we have the extra money, and so what's great is that these sculptures are such a hit that right now even the Tucson Botanical Garden lead lady is saying, well, Joe, you don't even need 12. You could even do these three because it's different than your average just standalone sculptures. And so that's what's really, I think, making it a difference. But we really do want to have at least 12. And so we've got, this will be four, but look how far we're going to go to the Tucson, um, the Desert Museum with three. And then we'll have four on opening. Hopefully by opening he'll have that lizard done. So all of this,
Done.
yeah, and all of this will, or whatever it's going. You think it's going to be? It is going to be a lizard, right, Joe?
Yeah, he's
A
going to be
lizard.
a yeah, he's going to be a wide-bodied, strong lizard.
Yeah.
That he's going to have a saddle on him and reins and all this fun stuff. Now that is a sponsor. A sponsor is co-building that with, or
Yeah.
I'm getting to co-build that with sponsors. So very
Yeah.
excited about that. And um, we get to the exhibit itself. Our goal is to lease these out to other botanical gardens nationwide and or probably worldwide, but for sure right now nationwide. My other artist friend is doing that. She has three exhibits and she's had those leased out all over the country. She is a shining light in my ability to build these things and has us heading in the right direction on that aspect. So
Yeah.
exciting stuff happening.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
awesome.
Well,
And what's going to be neat is like the whole thing is it also will bring to where, this awareness for these animals. And so like even my music, I've got the whole album like I want to do, and that's like for my the animal songs. So we could even do this where we have performance, along with as we go, where we have everything kind of connects together.
that's awesome. And we do need
Yeah,
to.
we're very much excited about that.
Yeah.
Also, we're offering something special in this exhibit world. For one, no interactive art exhibits. You get to walk up and just look at all the other ones. These you get to touch, feel, ring bells, cranks, and stuff like that. And the to have a performance for the investors, the donors, and things like that at a particular botanical gardens is a huge asset for these exhibits. Again, nobody's doing that. They can do a special event with Mercedes music and me being my quirky self talking about all these art pieces and things like that. So it's very exciting, and there's the possibilities are endless with this, endless with it.
That's awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can explore Joe's world at cavemanfabrications.com. Also, Marie put the website on there for the 501c3 in the chat.
Thank
You
you,
can check out
Marie.
his latest exhibits in Arizona, follow him on social media, or drop by his studio to see the magic being made in steel and stone. Um, if today's conversation has stirred something in you, remember to like, subscribe, and share this episode of Explaining the Unexplainable, where we uncover the genius behind the mystery. It's been an awesome. Joe, we got to get you back on, my friend. You have to come back. This man is
Uh,
extremely amazing.
He's
I had
missing
so
out
much
on
fun.
fire.
I'd be honored to do it again.
I was saying you're missing out on your fire time right now, so he'll be heading to the fire right now.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah, I'll be as soon as this is done. I'm going out my fireball. Let's see if Elon's throwing up any more of his rockets tonight. So,
if an alien picks you up, Joe, swing by here and get me in Kentucky, okay?
you're the first stop after that. Okay.
Yes. All right. Well,
And
you know,
thank
Love
you.
you, love you, love you all. Thank you so much.
we love you. And
We're so glad
Mercedes,
you've been here with us.
yes, we're glad to have you. And, Mercedes, it's always a joy to host with you. When my alarm wakes me up on time, last week that was my fault, and I apologize. I slept right through my alarm. Um,
And Anne was on the chat tonight. You will see.
yes, yes, Ann. I'm glad Ann's on here. Ann, forgive me for last week. So, but I just wanted to say until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep seeking what lies just beyond explanation. We love every one of you.
God bless you all.
God bless and have a wonderful night.